So, question, how do you choose the right first job?
Just pick one. Try it. How do you know if to try?
Yeah, but didn't you just have a conversation with me this week that you no longer think that is the right thing? That you've been telling people not to do that?
Yeah, probably.
So how to pick the right first job. So I believe you should apply for everything, at least try and get an interview, because then at least you are getting experience with doing an interview, but then ask questions about the job to see if it fits with whatever you do. So whether that be involving travel, the actual work, the actual clients, something that you enjoy or you believe you could. If it's something that you hear, you're like, nah, I'm not going to like that, do not take the job. Just tell them, even in the interview, it's like, look, I'm just not sure it's right for me. Thank you for your time. Sorry for wasting it. And then move on. As frustrating it'll be for us,
generally,
for the person.
What I recommend they do is go back and think about it after the interview. A lot of the time it would be you want to say everything right and correct at that interview, and post-interview, go away and think about it. So exactly what Tyson said, ask the questions you need to, go away, have a think about it, talk to family, friends, whatever you need to do to make sure that is the right job for you.
And I'm just going to disagree with her and say, just tell me straight away if you've got an answer, because
that would be the ideal.
It'll save us time. Because if you go away and we're like, oh, I might give them a job, and then the moment we say that, you're like, oh no, I'm not interested, then it's just like, oh, for frick's sake.
Look, I 100% agree with you, but does that happen?
Yes, it has happened.
Rare.
It's happened.
In your face, they tell you straight away this is not the job for you.
Oh no, they won't do that, but then...
That's what I mean.
No, us making the decision and they saying, oh nah.
I agree, that's annoying, but as I said...
I'd still rather you not take the job. If you don't want it, go away. I think that's what most people that are hiring would think too, as much as we want to fill a position and get you seeing clients. If you don't like it or don't like us, don't like the company that you're applying for, then you shouldn't be a part of it. Even if you're going in thinking, oh, this is going to be a stepping stone, that's a terrible attitude, but I know that it's there. But do your best to try and find an organisation that you want to work for. But if you do need to find experience, if you do want to have a stepping stone, I get it, but just be aware that you're going to burn some bridges if that's your attitude.
What is the one piece of advice you would give to a new grad? Solid. Just one.
What's yours?
One.
What's yours? One piece of advice I'd give to a new grad. Come in knowing very well what and who you are as a person, so that you'll be able to actually answer the questions in an interview.
That's a post-interview feels right there.
No, I think, you say you hate self-awareness, and I love it, but also hate it at the same time, because now it's a buzzword, but I think knowing who you are and what your skills are, and weaknesses more importantly, is one of the best things. And we like hearing the weaknesses more than we do the strengths half the time, because then it tells us if that person knows who they actually are.
Yeah, 100% agree.
So what's your one?
Acknowledging that you're not going to know everything, and that is fine. And so make the most of learning as part of that. And that learning can be an interview, it can be pretty much on your own, but I think just accepting that you won't know everything, and enjoying the process of getting there to learn more.
Yeah. So both are knowing your shortcomings.
Yeah. And being fine with that.
Yeah.
So don't try and impress us.
Yeah, don't try and be someone you're not. Or act as if you know more than you do, or try, if you literally don't know, it is better if you are like, look, this is where my mind was going, but I really don't know because X, Y, Z, or make a decision, but next.
So our advice for those growing their social media platform.
Advice for growing a social media platform. So we're not truly experts, really, because we don't have the biggest social media following, but I guess we are.
We need to get on that influencer life.
Because we both,
#discount code.
we both really want that. I think in terms of social media, you need to be honest to your audience and honest with yourself, and stop trying to be what you believe that they want. Like, I feel like some people give the advice of like, look at what other people are doing and do that. And I think that's shit and crap, and you shouldn't do that, because then you're just pretending the whole time. I think you can definitely get advice or analyze what people may be doing from a posting schedule point of view, or from a photo lighting and design and all of that kind of point of view. But in terms of the content, I think it needs to be you, genuinely you, especially if you're looking to personally become a brand or an influencer. I don't want to be famous or an influencer. Like, I don't. I don't. So I don't know if you do. Do you do?
Huh?
Do you?
What?
Want to be famous?
No.
You do a little bit. There was like something in her eye then. Did you see it? So yeah, how would you grow?
Well, I think in terms of social media, it needs to be something that actually is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to grab my eye. I'm not one to actually sit on things for very long, and most people are like that these days, like bouncing to the next thing. So it does actually need to look good. And some of the advice that you gave me early on was how terrible my attempts at photography and making things look good was. Prior to that, I was like, so good. I've done so good with this lighting. It's the best content. It probably wasn't. It actually wasn't. So definitely things need to look good, and they need to be appealing to the eye. For sure, be true to you, but if you can't actually see the photos or see what you're saying, or actually people don't want to read that, then they're obviously not going to follow on and see
Being
what
true to yourself is just like, well, maybe you're not built to do that. Maybe you're not built to be a dietitian influencer.
Because it takes a lot of time. Think about the time, like that screen time app on your phone that you've got that actually monitors how much time you spend on there, like that. Yeah, that is 100% the life, and that is all you'll be doing, is taking photos of everything that you are doing, and it is consuming. So exactly to that same effect, is it for you? If you just want to keep a little cool little photo blog on Instagram, sweet. But if you're trying to grow a social platform, it does become like a full-time job.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess practically, from a practical standpoint, you're going to have to be posting,
all the time.
Yeah, 3-4 times a day, every day, at different times.
And you need to have an idea about what you actually are doing.
You need to have the right content. You need to have a purpose. Whether you're going to go via themes, you're going to have certain content that's you personally versus food versus quotes versus memes. What is your whole thing? What is the end goal? Trying to figure out that. So
otherwise what you'll do is spend so much time on that, right? And then to a point you realise that you're not actually being a good dietitian.
There's so many shit dietitians coming through.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many shit dietitians. Everyone's worried about.
Or you get to that point, you realise how much time you've wasted doing that. It hasn't actually worked, and then you've wasted all that time and effort when you could have been putting it into something else. So there's just so many platforms, so many.
What pisses me off, little freaking rant, is when we have applicants, or I don't know, not necessarily apply, but if we're talking to people and then they go, oh, well, I need to take more time out because I want to build my Instagram following, and they're a new grad or they're a student or whatever, they'd rather do that than get work experience or get experience as an actual dietitian. And it's just like, well, what did you get in for? And yeah, that could be true to you and you want to do that, sweet. But you making money from that Instagram, sufficient money, is going to be exponentially harder and a longer road than what it is if you're working for someone as a dietitian, and your skills as a dietitian will only be predicated on how willing you are to do the extra study, because you're not freaking seeing clients, you're taking pictures. So your skills in terms of strategy, in terms of relationship building, in terms of counselling are going to be nothing compared to someone that started out even in a hospital, private practice. Like, you are going to be left behind if you ever go, oh, I'm not actually a dietitian, I'm just an influencer now. In terms of client management and client stuff, and some of the shit that we see put out, some of the advice given by, new grads that you've grown up with Instagram through high school, so you've always had a larger following, and if you're attractive, you're going to have an even bigger following. If you show photos of your ass and your body, you're going to have an even bigger following. And you're going to be duped into this sense of, all right, because I have a big following, I know what I'm talking about. And I think Instagram now is like the famous people from the red carpet of old, where they used to give us the diet advice and people would believe it. Now people are believing people with the most followers. It's like, oh, they got the most followers, they must know about nutrition because she's attractive, or he's got a ripping bod, so he knows about nutrition. It's just like rant, but fuck.
Yeah. So pretty
got
much
away from our question.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So consistency, quality in terms of the post, knowing yourself and actually having a plan for what you want that to be, and
what you want to achieve.
Yeah, and dedicating yourself to it wholly, that will give you the best results.
Yeah. Not the best result as a dietitian, but the best results in terms of social media following.
Yeah.
Question: how do you set yourself apart from other dietitians? So we're going to say what we personally do to set ourselves apart, or we saying...
Yeah, that's probably a good idea, because otherwise it ends up being really vague, hey?
It's an example. It's an example. So how about you tell us what sets you apart?
I've always been very down the line, and often quite black and white. So in terms of my approach, my marketing, I set myself apart because I don't take no bullshit, and with that, I get results ultimately. I try to cut through the bull for most of the time, particularly when it comes to clients coming in with their beliefs. And so in terms of how I set myself apart, it is just that. Like I'm very procedural in terms of what I do, and when I go and see a GP, generally those things that I will say will be around client results, the success that I have, and the I suppose the replication of all of those techniques over time. I guess that's my point of difference. I could continue to talk about it, but that's probably me being succinct and trying to do that as best I can.
I definitely wouldn't describe it as any of those things.
Okay, well, is it just going to be about backwards and forwards?
No. Yeah, so the first part of that, obviously, is why we work well together. The cutting through bullshit. I guess me, in terms of setting myself apart as a dietitian, I think I am casual in nature when it comes to client interactions, but also I've got no emotion in relation to food. So if someone comes through with a certain way that they want to do things, or a certain goal in mind, and they want to eat a certain way or whatever, I don't really care. So I'll give them the information or science that may discredit what they're saying or whatever, if I feel the need to, if they're asking for my advice. But ultimately, I'll just give them the best result for whatever they're coming in. So for example, if they wanted to, there was one guy I remember that wanted to drink his food. Basically, that's all he wanted to have, was just this one drink, and he just wanted to get all the nutrients from that, and that's all he wanted. Didn't care about eating, didn't care about anything, just wanted to do that. But he was an athlete, he wanted to do sprinting, so we had different kind of things that we needed to achieve. So basically the conversation went around, all right, sweet, we can do that. We can try and get you some smoothie-based stuff that we can make it really easy. And he eventually had a 2-litre thing that he would drink throughout the day. But then we'd work in a meal to make sure he's getting the right nutrition at the right times for nutrition. Other dietitians may come in and go, oh no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You need to have breakfast. You need to have morning tea. You need a snack. So I think my skill as a dietitian is being able to read the client, analyze what they're doing, and then give them what they want, while also reaching the goal. Yeah. I think, I don't know, I was talking today with a client actually, just more around counselling. And I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. I'm going all right here. I don't know, there's just being able to read people and not what they say, but what they don't, is a definite skill. And I think that's something that lacks with a lot of dietitians and just people in general. So I think me personally, I'm able to do that. And I think with clients, it's really useful, as well as it is with new grads and students and people that we manage. If you can read what the other person's saying, but what they're not saying, their body language and things around that, see where they're going before they know where they're going, then you can kind of have a greater impact on that person before they leave.
And I guess I'm the same. I have no bias, and I don't care. And I know that probably sounds a little...
you're not empathetic.
A little
like,
mean, yeah, it's not standard. Yeah, exactly. Look, at the end of the day, often I would say to my clients, I don't care. I really don't care. And so it is up to you whether you want to follow this or not. And I care about your outcomes, but I literally don't care when you walk out the door. That's kind of the way that I feel, right? And that is the best way to
Hopefully
succeed.
She doesn't say that to the client every time. It's like, I don't care when you walk out the door.
But that's it. That's the way to succeed long term as well, because you can be very cut and dry about it. I also consider myself to be extremely practical. So if I'm recommending something to a client, let's say, look, I'm recommending they go and get fish because it's important that they have 2 serves of fish in the day, but in a week, right? And then they live in the country and they don't actually get fish, or fish is $45 a kilo, and they're not going to buy that.
I'm not going to eat fish now in the middle of Australia. Screw that.
Yeah.
I'll be off food miles.
Yeah, that's right. So, or I've got a mum coming in and it's really probably valuable or useful that she breastfeeds her baby, but she's got to return to work and it's not really a priority for her, but breast is best. I'm going to be practical and realise that, you know what, this is the situation, we can deal with that. So I guess it's having all those tools and eggs in your basket, but in terms of plucking out what we do and why we are different, they would be the main skills.
I think food knowledge of what normal people eat, I'm good at as well. Because a lot of dietitians, we see it a lot with interviews and students that we talk to, new grads, dietitians who've been out for a while, they aren't aware of what normal people eat. So I'm talking like junk food, takeaway food, snacks that you wouldn't usually have, and knowing the contents of those foods, how much food costs, because then you're going to have the ammunition to be able to make change in people that have those food preferences. So if you know that like quarter pounder meal costs like $10.45, and you know roughly the kilojoules that are in it, and you say, oh, can you go get a Thai green curry or some shit like that, and you know the kilojoules are in it, but then it's going to cost them $16 and they've said that they don't have any money, like they're not going to go do that. So you need to know, I guess, the cost of stuff, but also the kilojoule content.
Yeah, so the practicality aspect of being a dietitian, it's all good to know and research, but you need to actually then follow through with ideas and recommendations and have that really good understanding. So again, setting yourself apart from others.
And not trying to deliver, and I hope that we're trying, through all of this, we're trying to get rid of this whole stigma of dietitians will just give you salad, carrot sticks and hummus. But some dietitians, some dietitians still do that. So we're trying to get away from that and realise that you don't have to do that to improve someone's diet. Do not feel like you need to fix 35 things on someone's diet. Fix the stuff that's actually going to matter and it's going to have the biggest impact, while they also get to enjoy their life the way that they want to enjoy it. So I guess in terms of finding that about yourself and what you are good at, it comes back to what we've said in previous stuff about knowing who you are, but then also who you are isn't what you need to be, is working on the things that you know will set you apart from other dietitians. So if you have no ability to read someone's body language and you always get in trouble around like saying the wrong thing in the wrong time, you can't read people and you get in trouble around that, like that might not be your skill, but you need to make it up in somewhere else. So it might be food knowledge where you can surpass everyone. So it's about dedicating yourself to that. And then finding out what works best for you. And I think that comes with time. Like you're not going to know probably first thing, but you should have an inkling.
I think
you should have an idea.
Yeah, you 100% have an idea, and a lot of the time we shy away from those weaknesses, but sometimes those weaknesses can actually set you apart, and you could flip them and actually they'd be amazing positives. So I would be asking other people if you don't know those weaknesses and then look to improve on them. For me, and this may not actually be amazingly relevant to dietetics, but my mouth was obviously not a good situation for me to be in. I often would say things that were inappropriate at times or probably put people offside. And at that time I was like, whatever, it doesn't matter, it doesn't care. but it actually does matter because relationships and communication, it's huge, and I guess I didn't value that, and so I've worked really hard to try and, in appropriate company, work on that mouth of mine, and have certainly improved over time. And that's probably a really valuable skill because in the situation that we're in at the moment, sweet, good, I can keep my mouth closed when I need to. So definitely in terms of trying to identify it, ask people if you don't know, and work on those
Or surround yourself with people who just tell you regardless.
Yeah, like call you out on your shit all the time.
And Peter calls me out too. But yeah, so it's a really hard question to answer.
Don't try to specialise, don't try to be different, just try and be you.
Yeah, which will be inherently
easier.
different
Yeah.
to other people. You're you. You've had different experiences to everyone else. So think personal rather than dietitian, and that'll be the biggest kind of key to you working it out.
Because that's super easy. It doesn't mean that you have to be somebody else every day and then go home and be the person that you want to be. Yeah, and a lot of the time that's the way I would feel after clinic.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be I'd be up here, right? And then I'd come back and I'm like, oh, I just don't have to work so hard at this. But you do, to a certain extent, you play the game.
Yeah, you still do.
But, yeah, it's easy to just be you.
Good advice.